if you're the Miami Heat, are as good as any team in this postseason at scheming, at game planning, at throwing things at people, and you're thinking about how to attack Nikola Jokic defensively, what's on the menu of options?
We make a great point. Look, Miami hasn't faced a big like Jokic this postseason. They want to get Giannis, but he's more of a perimeter-style big. So the way they use Jokic, moving him around the floor, pin downs, bringing the ball up, two-man game. Sometimes he handles the ball. Jamal, they'll set a screen. Jamal Murray will set a screen for him. So very unorthodox, a lot of movement, too, with this defense. So if you help, he will make you pay, finding open cutters, open shooters. And if you play him straight up, no one can guard him straight up. So a matchup nightmare. I think, first of all, Miami has to have good offensive execution, and be able to get that back and set up their defense and try to make it a half-court game. But Jokic, he's been dominant, and I imagine he'll continue to be dominant in this series.
We've been looking back at old video of Nikola Jokic as a young man over in Serbia when he was starting his pro career, and it's a little remarkable that no one saw some of this coming, because you watch the kid version, ignore the terrible uniforms. Watch the game for a second. He plays exactly the same way he always has, Chuck.
Well, listen, he's just getting older and smarter and better. He got himself in amazing shape. I mean, it's just beautiful to watch. Oh, just kill him. I'm curious about one thing. You asked Grant that question. Would a zone work against the Nuggets like it did against the Celtics? I mean, because they can't
try it.
Because first of all, they're too little to play the Joker. Bam's a heck of a player, but he's just too little. I don't know if you're going to bring Zeller in because he's bigger. But I'm curious to see how they play against that zone, because it worked magnificently against the Celtics.
And it worked last year against Embiid in the second round. They went to the zone, really frustrated Philadelphia, and they eliminated Philadelphia in that second round. So to your point, because there's not a lot of bigs on that bench, they may see a lot of 2-3 zones.
I think they will see a lot of zone. We talked about that going to Game 7. I said the Celtics, to take the crowd out the game and keep the possessions down, they might go to that zone. But it will be interesting, because I don't think that'll work against the Nuggets.
And we'll get more into that a little later on. Miami's played more zone than anybody by far in the postseason so far. For what it's worth, and usually you don't put a lot of credence into the regular season matchups, Denver's beaten Miami 6 straight games in the regular season. And over the last 4 in particular, Jokic has had his way when Bam Adebayo's been on it.
That's the difference, I think, between him and Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, MVP, settles for a lot more jumpers. Joker can do both.
That's the way I always approach it, Shaq, when I had a smaller defender on me. Dominate.
That's right. A great point, Shaq. Because Embiid ended up shooting jumpers and fadeaways. This dude never let a little guy guard him. He punishes him every time.
Looks relaxed as always, doesn't he? Ahead of Game 1 of the biggest series of his professional career. The NBA Finals in Denver for the very first time. Our pregame coverage continues here on NBA TV after this.